the doggy!
My daughter pointed and exclaimed, referring to my sister, the bride. Hey, Olive, stop it! The people gathered at the wedding venue smiled wearily, thinking it was just a mischievous act of a small child, and not particularly bothered. I hurriedly picked up my daughter and stopped her. Olive, that's not nice to say.
Huh? But yesterday, Auntie Erica was.
Today's my sister's big day. My sister Erica and I have never been close, but I wanted her to have a pleasant start to her new life, since she had kindly invited us to her wedding. My conscience was shattered by my daughter's innocent words. Let's go back in time for a moment. I'm Megan, a 32 years old full-time housewife living in a rented apartment with my husband, Joe, and our daughter, Olive. I married Joe 5 years ago and quickly became pregnant, giving birth to Olive. Joe dotes on our daughter. Many fathers may think that their job is just to work and bring in money, but Joe is different. He took paternity leave, which was still uncommon at the time when Olive was born, and took care of her and me full-time. He even changed her diapers, prepared milk and baby food, and dealt with her crying and tantrum almost flawlessly. Even now that Olive has grown up, Joe can take care of her without any problems, even when I'm not around. Every time I see Joe spending time with her daughter, I deeply realize how lucky I am to have married him. One day, Joe came home from work with a big smile on his face. Did something good happen? I asked, and Joe replied, Actually, I'm going to be promoted soon, and I'm going to be able to participate in a project I've wanted to join for a long time. Whoa, that's amazing! You've been working so hard lately. Congratulations! Joe's news made our daughter happy too, and we celebrated together.
Daddy, that's amazing!
My daughter clapped her hands happily. I can do my best because I have you too. Thank you, girls. I love you. Joe gently stroked our daughter's head and said that. I thought our marriage was like a picture perfect and smooth sailing. However, there was one thing that worried me about our life. It was Joe's personality. Joe was kind to everyone, not just his family, which was a good thing, but on the other hand, it also meant that he was a people pleaser. Moreover, he was easily persuaded. Shortly after our marriage, his personality became a problem. When a minor issue with his college friend, who was a girl, turned into a hassle. Joe was helping her with her problem, and she suddenly showed up at the house. Joe had told her to come to him any time she needed help, and she had taken him at his word. I was also at home at the time, so I asked her to leave immediately. If I hadn't been there, Joe might have let her stay, and who knows, she might have even tried to seduce him. After she left, I talked to him about the issue, but he didn't seem to understand what was wrong. That's why I sometimes worry that something similar might happen again. I'm worried because I love Joe. One day, after dropping my daughter off at kindergarten, I was cleaning the living room when my phone rang. It was a text from my sister Erica, whom I hadn't spoken to for a few years. I was surprised and let out a gasp. It seemed like an emergency, because why else would she text me out of the blue? I quickly opened it, and it turned out to be an apology. My sister's always been beautiful, but she has been mean to me since we were children. For example, she used to give me her homework and household chores to do, and take away the games I had bought. When I was in high school, she even stole my first boyfriend. That's why I only kept in touch with her when it was absolutely necessary. The last time I invited her was to my wedding. I'm sorry for everything, and I want to apologize to you in person. I couldn't help but wonder why she would suddenly send me a text like that. To be honest, I thought it was a little too late for her to apologize. On the other hand, I also thought that we were both adults now, and we could have a normal relationship even if we weren't close. After thinking about it for a while, I finally decided to reply and suggest we meet at my place on Sunday. On the day we met, I saw my sister for the first time in years, and she hadn't changed a bit. She was as beautiful as I remembered she was.
Megan, it's been a while. Thank you for inviting me today. Here, it's for you.
She handed me a cake box with a smile on her face, and I led her to the sofa in the living room. I made coffee and returned to her.
Thank you.
Where are Olive and Joe? She looked around nervously while I answered her. They went to the park. They'll probably be back soon. She took a sip of her coffee and suddenly bowed her head.
I'm sorry for being mean all this time. I was really bad. I'm really sorry. I know it may be too late, but I thought if I didn't apologize now, I might regret it for the rest of my life.
Erica, please, lift your head up. She lifted her head hesitantly. It's okay. It's in the past, right? Let's forget it and keep in touch from now. My words seemed to make her relieved. And at that moment, my daughter and Joe returned from the park. Hey, I'm home. Oh, Erica. It's been a while since the wedding. Please, take your time. I had explained the situation to Joe when my sister contacted me that day. I only told my daughter that her aunt was coming to play.
Hello, Auntie Erica. Hey, let's play house together.
Despite being their first meeting, my daughter seemed to have taken a liking to my sister and invited her to play. My sister accepted it gladly, and the two of them started to play pretend. I was worried if my daughter would be shy around strangers, but there was no problem at all. We all had a good time eating the cake my sister brought and spending time together. I thought we should have made up earlier, and it was already time without noticing it.
Mommy, I'm getting sleepy.
My daughter, who had been playing energetically until then, rubbed her eyes and said so. She had played a lot in the park, so it was natural for her to be tired. Should we take a nap, Olive? Megan, I'll put her to sleep. Although Joe usually puts my daughter to bed, sometimes she would come to me and ask for my help.
I want Mommy today. Mommy, please.
Oh, that's rare. Yeah, sure. Megan, would you? I nodded and left my sister and Joe in the living room and took my daughter's hand, heading to the bedroom. In a few minutes, my daughter fell asleep. She must have been tired from playing too much. I looked at her sleeping face for a few minutes, even after she fell asleep. Then quietly left the bedroom, so as not to wake her up.
Oh, hey, Megan. I'm going to head home now.
Oh, really? Why don't you stay for dinner?
Well, actually, I have something to do after this. Sorry. We can hang out again soon.
And with that, Erica left her place. It was good to know that I could build a good relationship with my sister from now on. A week had passed since she came over to my house when I received a call from a friend back home who I regularly keep in touch with. She invited me on a trip as my birthday was coming up. Since giving birth to my daughter, I had taken a few family trips, but I have never been on a trip with my friends. I was hesitant to ask him, especially since he was tired from work. After much deliberation, I talked to my husband about it. A trip? That sounds great. You should go. I'll take care of Olive, so don't worry. Really? But it's a pretty far destination, and we'll be staying over for 3 nights. Won't you have trouble taking time off from work? When I asked him this, Joe shook his head. No, I can take some paid time off. In fact, I was just being pushed to take some off from work. So don't worry about it. Go ahead and enjoy the trip. His words put me at ease. And a month later, I went on a 3-night trip with my friends. This trip was a lot of fun, of course. I felt like I had gone back to my single days, and I had a blast with food, sightseeing, and everything else. When I returned home, Joe and our daughter welcomed me back warmly. They had enjoyed themselves while I was away, going out to eat and to the mall. It seemed like there was nothing for me to worry about, and I was relieved. And I was unpacking my bag from the trip. My sister called me on the phone. Although we hadn't met in person since she came over to my house a while ago, we occasionally exchanged texts. Hi, Erica. What's up?
Sorry to call you at this time, but I have something I want to tell you right away.
Her voice sounded full of joy, so it didn't seem like bad news.
Actually, I'm getting married to the person I was dating. We'll have a wedding in 3 months, so I really want you guys to come.
What? Congratulations! We'll definitely go.
Thank you. I'll let you know the details when we have them. Well, that's all for now.
And with that, Erica hung up the phone. She must have been really happy about the proposal. I immediately told Joe and our daughter that my sister was getting married. They both rejoiced as if it were their own news. I didn't think my young daughter would fully understand, but she seemed happy, so I was content. For a while after that, Joe's work suddenly became busy. He started working overtime and even working on weekends, which was unusual for him. He had said he was promoted and would be participating in a new project, so it couldn't be helped. Despite that, Joe was still taking good care of Olive. When I expressed the concern that he might be overburdened, he smiled kindly and said, "It's okay. Just being with Olive makes me forget my fatigue." Is there a better husband and father out there than him? At that time, I really thought I was lucky to have married Joe. However, one day, our daughter looked unusually gloomy. When I asked her what was wrong, she gave me an unexpected answer.
I want to play with Daddy. Daddy never plays with me anymore.
It was true that he spent time with her less often than before, but he should still be playing with her while I was out. It would be difficult for a daughter, who was almost 5 years old, to understand the situation and circumstances. Daddy is working hard for Mommy and Olive, so even if he can't play with you a lot, you shouldn't be selfish. When Mommy isn't here, you play house with Daddy, don't you? When I said that to her daughter, she made a strange face and seemed like she wanted to say something.
Never mind then.
She said so, put a nearby blanket over her head, and went to sleep. The day of my sister's wedding finally arrived. My daughter was wearing a beautiful dress and was very excited. Well, I hoped she would stay quiet during the wedding ceremony. Our relatives and the groom's relatives, as well as our friends and colleagues, had gathered in the chapel. A little after the scheduled start time, the groom finally appeared. He was a handsome man who worked for a famous company. Then, finally, the bride, my sister, appeared. She took a step forward, escorted by our father, who seemed like he was about to cry. That was when my daughter pointed her finger and burst out laughing, saying,
It's the doggy.
When she saw my sister's face,
Yesterday, when Mommy was out, Auntie Erica came to our house. Daddy kept playing doggy with her and didn't play with me.
What? Olive? What are you saying?
It's supposed to be a secret, but Daddy has been playing only with her. I'm mad.
I felt the blood draining from my body. Doggy play? What does that mean? Could it be that Joe was having an affair with my sister at home? I couldn't believe it. I thought he was a good husband and father, but he had been betraying me all along. I glared at my sister. She briefly looked surprised, but pretended not to hear. She even tried to continue with the wedding ceremony. However, at that moment, one of the attendees who had heard my daughter's story spoke up loudly. Me too. I and my friends have had our boyfriends taken away by that woman before. She was probably one of my sister's friends. Then the small commotion quickly spread throughout the venue. My sister could no longer bear it and threw off her veil, slamming it on the floor.
What are you talking about? That's obviously a lie. Who would have an affair with such an ugly and lame husband of yours?
I was angry at her words and couldn't help but retort. You've always been mean to me. I get it now. People never change. You only came to apologize to me to take Joe away. But I'm not going to be fooled again. I'll investigate thoroughly and take action.
Shut up!
Don't mess with me, Megan. My sister screamed with a bright red face, and I could hear scornful voices directed towards her from those around us. The venue staff tried to calm the situation, but it was already too late. Finally, my sister lifted up the hem of her long wedding dress and ran away. A few days later, as promised, I was able to gather evidence of my husband's affair and successfully filed for divorce. Of course, I also claimed damages from both Erica and Joe, and I received a lump sum payment from Joe for child support. My sister was also pursued for payment of damages due to the cancellation of the wedding ceremony. She had a decent career, but the incident caused her to lose her job. Now, she barely gets by working as a day laborer, and her once gorgeous looks have faded. As for my ex-husband, news of the affair leaked from somewhere and became a topic of discussion at his workplace. He was demoted and removed from the project he was working on. It's only a matter of time before he becomes unemployed. Neither my husband nor my sister noticed that our daughter had witnessed their infidelity that day. However, they had instructed her to keep their meetings a secret by saying, "It's a secret between Daddy and Olive, and we must keep it. Okay?" I cannot forgive my ex-husband and sister, and I have no sympathy for their current miserable situation. After the divorce, my daughter and I moved back to my parents' house. My parents were furious with my sister and declared a disinheritance on the day of the cancelled wedding ceremony. I feel sorry for depriving my daughter of her father, but I believe it was the right decision to cut ties with such traitors. I must work hard to provide for my daughter and ensure she never experiences any hardships. With that in mind, I found a new job immediately and plan to build a new life with my daughter in a new environment.